Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to all of our witnesses. And thanks for today's hearing, Madam Chairman. It's very appropriate that as we hopefully are finalizing a WRDA conference, our first big piece of infrastructure work on this committee, and we're very hopeful about that, we increasingly turn our attention to our next big infrastructure work, which is the next highway bill. And we're both excited to do that and are both actively doing that. Thanks to our witnesses, you represent a diverse group of interests, but collectively you represent a strong and a common voice on this issue. Infrastructure is a critical component of our nation's economy and our quality of life. First-class infrastructure is fundamental to connect people and communities, and it's a critical building block for our economy. In 2011 alone, the U.S. transportation system moved 17.6 billion tons of goods valued at almost $17 trillion. However, as the Chair suggested, just last week, CBO came out with their updated projections for the Highway Trust Fund. And that trust fund is accelerating toward bankruptcy faster than anticipated. Action must be taken before the end of the fiscal year to avoid what the Chair described, a nearly 100% drop in new federal funds in FY15. The economic impact of such a drop would resonate far beyond the lack of direct investment into our infrastructure. Inaction would drastically disrupt the project delivery supply chain, the efficiency and cost of movement of our goods, and our overall competitiveness. The Highway Trust Fund was intended to not only facilitate the unique characteristics of funding transportation infrastructure, but also to provide funding safeguards for the highest priority projects. Putting such a structure on a sound fiscal footing will restore the stability and certainty of the trust fund that's so vital to economic growth. I have to say, some believe that for some reason it's a core conservative principle to adhere strictly to our current flawed mechanism in perpetuity, and that's all there should ever be to meet our infrastructure demands. I don't understand that at all, and will be advocating for solutions that go beyond that. What I do understand is concerns about a net tax increase for cash-strapped middle-class families, and I'll be seeking a solution that fully addresses our Highway Trust Fund needs while not imposing such a net tax increase. When the trust fund structure was first established, it was designed to build the interstate highway system, and it was structured based on the simple principle that first you map out and define a detailed plan, you come up with a cost to complete that plan, and then you build a user-based financing structure to complete that task. Such thinking not only produced the certainty of a 13-year authorization bill, but it also established good government accountability and trust from system users. However, that type of thinking is almost unrecognizable in our transportation funding structure today. The actions of the last 6 years represent a significant departure from the intent of the Highway Trust Fund and have prolonged economic uncertainty, not only in the direct investment of our infrastructure, but also the type of long-term investment that drives economic development at home and makes us more competitive abroad. If we're going to be successful in restoring that type of structure, we fundamentally have to put trust back in the Highway Trust Fund. To me, this means we can't keep adding programs and eligibility to the trust fund that are narrowly focused, that don't build or maintain infrastructure, or do very little to benefit those who pay into the system. It means the trust fund needs to be even more transparent than before to rebuild that trust. We need to be able to show where taxpayer dollars are going and where future investments may or may not be utilized on a project-by-project level. And finally, we must rebuild that trust by continuing to reduce the cost, burden, and impact of red tape and bureaucracy. The Chair and I are hard at work putting significant reform ideas together in a new bill that can rebuild that trust and that can start the process and get the Finance Committee moving as a full partner on the finance piece. And so we hope to be moving such a base bill through the committee to encourage the Finance Committee to take it up and address the finance piece as a full partner. So I very much look forward to your testimony, very much look forward to that work of rebuilding trust in the trust fund so that we can fully finance our clear infrastructure needs. Thank you.